Good morning, Cavalier Nation. I'm Isabel.
And I'm Jasmine, and this is Cavalier Connections, the podcast that connects the amazing people and fun events in and around our school division to you, our listening audience.
Today we are diving into why people teach in Caroline County. Caroline County is a rural county with only 32,000 people and a county not as affluent of a community compared with its neighbors. Caroline County is still primarily agricultural, but has seen some industry growth in the last decade or so.
Caroline County is an interesting place to live as it is uniquely situated between major cities like Richmond and Washington, D.C., which are a haven for tourism and industry. Caroline County is known for its scenic landscapes, open spaces, and a slower pace of life. While Caroline Community is not a tourist hotspot, it does boast having a wildlife national refuge and is home to a quarry of prehistoric shark and whale skeletons. In 2009, the National Civic League represented Caroline County with one of 10 annual All America City Awards.
So, what is the draw to working in Caroline? What are some reasons that people come to Caroline to work and then stay here for the duration of their career? We at Cavalier Connections are here to find out.
This week, our guest is Miss Kendall Rogers, CCPS 2024-2025 Division Teacher of the Year. Miss Rogers serves Caroline Middle School as the agriculture teacher and Future Farmers of America sponsor. She has been teaching for 10 years with the past 5 as a proud CMS Eagle. Congratulations on achieving such a great accomplishment, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our Cavalier Connection studio.
You have achieved a lot of success as CCPS. Miss Rogers, can you explain what got you into teaching agriculture to middle school students? It sounds as if you have grown your program considerably. How did you get started in this? And can you talk about how this program has developed over the years?
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you for having me. This is my first podcast. But overall, I actually grew up in Caroline County. I was born in Beaver Dam and moved from there to Caroline in the middle of my second grade year. And I took ag in sixth grade over at Caroline Middle School and fell in love with it. I had an awesome teacher named Mr. Samuels who just sparked this interest. I took it seventh grade and got lucked out to have it in eighth grade as well. And when I got to the high school, I also got to take it. And it was the one class that I really connected with because it wasn't just a textbook. And y'all know what I mean about that. But it was easier for me to connect to something that gave me more styles than just reading. And after that, it just kind of all sparked forward for me to go into it and never could have told me that I'd be back here teaching where it all started. It was always the dream, but I was super excited when the option came up for me. It was during COVID, so I kind of got a slow push into it, which was nice. But I was in Hanover before this, and now I'm here, and I hope to be there till the building falls down or they build a new one.
Teaching is definitely a challenging profession on so many levels, and with our political climate, it isn't the occupation people are flocking to. What will keep you teaching for years to come?
I think one thing that keeps me here is and in teaching really is it's always changing, which for some people makes them think it's like mind-boggling, but especially in agriculture, there's never a day or even a year that is the same. Maybe I do teach animals this year, but next year it might be a new species, might be a new change in their maintenance, their processing, whatever. And then my favorite thing about teaching is those light bulb moments. It might be cheesy, but I really do like when a kid finally gets that connection or finally finds their passion and what they want to do because not every kid is, going to exceed in every single class. And when you can finally give them even just a little pinch of like, you can do this, it's really cool to see them like take off with that.
Yeah, that's great. So, we also know that have been working with all sorts of students all the time. Crazy schedules and demands from a lot of people can weigh heavily on a teacher's workday. What do you think are some of your biggest challenges as a teacher? How do you overcome those challenges?
Well, I wouldn't say teaching is easy, but there are days where it's way easier than anything else I can think of. Um, but time is one of those things that I feel like, especially as a teacher, there's never enough time in a day. Like you think, oh, we get the summers off or you get weekends off. You only work a 7 to 3. But if you ask any teacher, that we're always working off hours. I try not to take anything home, which is hard. But I do try to just push into doing what I can when I can, and if it doesn't work out, it's okay, and that's a huge thing to, like, work on. Um, but other than the time, sometimes it's remembering that not every kid is the same. like learning styles. You got one kid that can handle the hands-on, one kid that can't, one that's better at public speaking than another. Budget's always a hard thing for me because I'm in a shop with the equipment. And if you didn't know, lumber is like $1 million. So for them to build is a hard one, but we're always doing fundraisers, which then takes more time. And then the resources and technology are always changing. And I used to think I was hip with technology, but I'm slowly getting into like the boomer world. But teaching middle school has kept me up to date on that kind of stuff. So I think that's another thing that's kind of helped me not struggle with those challenges because some people can't, learn the new topics or the new technology. Like, oh, we're using Canva now. It's like, what about Google Slides?
We want to know why it's a good idea to teach in Caroline. What do you like best about working at your schools?
Oh, well, I mean, first off, it's one Caroline, like hashtag right there. But the biggest thing for me and being able to, one, I went to Caroline, then two, I went and taught somewhere else and then came back here. My biggest pull away that I tell people that are thinking about teaching or thinking about coming to Caroline, even if it's teaching here or working here or living here, is it is a small county, but it's a big county. And y'all being here, like, how that works. We're growing, which is kind of scary, but we're also still, I like to say, city without a sidewalk, because we have kids that are in like HOAs and in communities, and then you've got gated or non gated, and then you've got kids that live out in the middle of the boonies, like I do, barely just got internet. But we really do all come together like that real feeling of a family. When I was in Hanover County, there were four different middle schools, if I'm right, and that was hard. You had all these kids split in different places, and then they had a tech center, and sometimes you think that'd be a good idea, but being able to have all the kids in one place, every single middle schooler is at Caroline Middle, and every single high schooler is at Caroline High School. Like they get to all do it together. There's no, oh, well, I'm from this end of the county. I get to do this, but you can do that. So I've loved that about this. It's not been a split or having to share, one building to the other. It's just we're all together. One Caroline, hashtag.
Yeah, it's definitely great having a smaller knit community. So we've learned that you serve on the teacher advisory committee. What exactly does that committee do and what types of goals are you hoping to accomplish?
So I will say, when I first got put on this committee, I wasn't sure. I was like, another committee to join, right? Another board to be on. But within that first meeting, I really understood what it was about, and I kind of wish I'd known more, like, of who it was in the past. Um, but well, first off, you get to hear, what's happening in the community. Like I said, we're a small community, so you get to have that voice. But as a small group, we get to meet, we talk about the things happening at the larger level, and then we get to take it back to our schools. So, looking at, the growing community, what are we going to do? What's best? Do we build a new school? Do we add on to a school? And they actually want us as a committee to go through the pros, the cons, what's going to change, what should change. And then they even have a committee with just students where they get to go through that too. They've got parents to go through it. So having like a teacher brain, I guess, to look at it is sometimes nice. Never thought I'd be good enough to be on a committee like that. But being from the county too helps because I've seen it as it's grown. And then being from the school, seeing like, oh, I remember when we didn't have, two elementary schools in Ladysmith area. So seeing the change and knowing what can happen over time has a different opinion versus just having one group give their opinion and then nobody knowing what's happening. So but I mean, being able to help the growth has been the biggest thing with our committee.
With your skills and talents, you could work at any school district. What advantages do you feel working in Caroline County has over working in other school districts?
Um, I think my biggest part from that and being able to come from being in two different counties from teaching, being in Hanover, I had no issues other than, like I said, it's just a bigger group. You had more kids from different places. But what's keeping me in Caroline, for one, I live here and I plan on living here, looking for a house in Caroline. Two, I have kids in my class that are from every realm. Like I said, I've got kids that live in Ladysmith Village where they have sidewalks to walk somewhere. Then you have kids that live in Sparta where there is no such thing as a sidewalk, maybe barely even a road. I have kids that live off dirt roads that have their own animals. I've got kids that, work with their parents or, work from home and have different lifestyles. So you've got the rural and the urban areas that kind of come together. Um, I can have a kid in my room that's got cattle at home, and then a kid that doesn't even have a yard to mow. So having that has been probably my favorite thing because the kids help me learn that not everybody knows what I know about living in the country. So Caroline County is really big on that.
From what we understand, you are super involved in your students' activities and are often involved in community events, which are also enhances your relationship with kids and their families. What are some of the events that you do or have done outside of school that have helped you connect with your students?
Some of my biggest things, of course, being the FFA advisor. I attend our county fair. We go to the Fredericksburg Fair every year. We do a bunch of different community service outreaches. We take our animals to any of the like fall festivals and stuff like that. And we get to, share what we do in the classroom with the community. The other thing is I get to connect with the parents more than some of our teachers because our kids have SAEs. So, like I said, if I have a kid that's got I have 4 kids right now that all have livestock animals that they're raising for a show and sale auction, and I get to go to their houses and, work with them on that, and then their parents are getting to work with them on that and see the process of raising that animal, getting it to gain weight, going through the process, and then I have kids that are working on, running their own business, starting a lawn care business, and I get to help with that kind of stuff in the community, and it's been really interesting to see not just in the classroom learning, so going out and then getting the parents involved, um, and then the community's just supportive across the vast part of it. But families are always intrigued in learning with their kids. Sometimes I think it's a little intimidating, like, wait, I didn't know this already, but it's always fun to watch them, like, the parent that's never touched a sheep and all of a sudden their kid's owning a sheep to do this whole thing, or I've never welded, but now my 12-year-old is going to be welding. Like, that's a huge thing for them. So, getting the families connected is a big thing that I do try to push because I can't do all of it either. So,
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I mean, teachers have such a huge impact on the lives of students. You've had an impact on so many students in your career already, and you will continue to have an impact for years to come. I think it's true to say that almost every student has a favorite teacher at some time in their lives. Do you have a favorite teacher from when you were going through school? If so, who were they and why were they your favorite?
so sounds like, cheesy, but my agriculture teachers were my favorite. Mr. Samuels was my favorite teacher at the middle school level just because he sparked the overall creation of what I do. He pushed me through middle school and, got me into what I wanted. And then when I got to the high school, I had Mr. Carter, who was my ag teacher over here. He pushed me through it for all 4 years. And then I had Miss Nutter for a little while here as well. And she was one of the biggest things that helped me, even though she wasn't my teacher. I still say she's one of my favorite teachers because she was a female in a male dominant profession as an ag teacher. And it gave me hope to realize I could do it. Um, but if I had to pick someone that wasn't an ag teacher as my favorite, you can't tell her, but she might hear this at some point. But Miss Honeycutt was probably my favorite teacher, and she's actually a teacher now at the middle school again. But she has supported me even when I was not a very good student in her class, and even into today where now I'm teaching with her as a coworker, and we still talk and have conversations together. So it's always been really cool to come back to that. It was a little scary coming back to where I had my teachers and now they're my coworkers because I teach with about 5 or 6 teachers that were actually my teachers as students. So, but I definitely have a warm spot in my heart for Miss Honeycutt.
Do you ever happen to think that you might be one of your students' favorite teachers?
I hope so. I'm not always. I mean, I know I'm not, always the best. Sometimes I do get annoyed of myself because I'm saying be quiet too many times, or we got to do the notes that nobody wants to do. But I hope that I can spark something in the same kids as Mr. Samuels did for me. Hopefully, one day a kid will come in and teach my class, and I'll be like, I remember when you were this big, and didn't know any of it. So hopefully, I am at least one kid's favorite every year. That's my goal.
I wish that for you too.
Making a decision on where to work is a hard decision. Why do you think teaching it in Caroline has been the right decision for you? What keeps you going to work each and every day?
So for one, it's my hometown. I've lived here since Christmas of my second grade year. But secondly, is just it's become part of me being in that building, going to work, being there. We talked about it the other day that the kids think we live in the basement or we have like a pool up on the third floor. There is no third floor. Um, but just having the ability of, I always tell my students, everybody will have a job. Unfortunately, not everybody will have a career. I've had plenty of jobs in my life, but I really do feel that what I'm doing is my career because I love doing it. I wake up every day and I'm ready. Yes, I'm still tired when I get up, but once I get here, I'm so excited about what I'm doing. Might not always know what's happening or what we're doing, but it's just no 2 days are the same ever. And that's what keeps me going each day and coming in and doing something because I don't think I could ever do a job where it's just the same thing every day.
Yeah. And we're all definitely glad you come back every day. Okay. Last but definitely not least, congratulations on being recognized for your accomplishments as District Teacher of the Year. That is quite an honor to be selected from so many other impressive individuals. Were you surprised? And more importantly, what did you do to celebrate?
So my Miss Griggs was my principal at the time, and she thinks it's funny the way I reacted actually. So first they told us who didn't get it. So they were like, these were all the people that were nominated. And as they finished the list, I literally looked at the people beside me and said, how could they pick someone from that list? Like, those are all really good teachers. And then before I could even finish that sentence, they said my name, and I was like, what? It's like, there's no way you got this mixed up. So I had no clue. Everybody, like even a couple of my own coworkers were in the thing that where they chose me and didn't tell me for like a whole week. I was like, how'd you keep this secret from me? Um, but I was like, how am I any better than these awesome teachers that you just read off that I think are above and beyond? Um, and I say all the time, like, I feel like I didn't do anything different to get this label or this award. I've just been teaching. It's not like I knew I wanted to go for this year and I did amazing lesson plans and made the best hands-on activities. Like, I didn't change anything. I've just been doing my thing for 10 years. So that was the biggest thing that I think surprised me the most was it wasn't like I, stuck up this extra placard to say, "Hey, I'm amazing, pick me." Like it just happened. Um, and I think being humble in that is, something that my mom tells me all the time is, that's what really makes somebody worthy of the award. It's not like they were looking for that. But I just want to teach the kids the fun stuff, do the fun stuff, learn with them. Sometimes they teach me things, so getting that extra little. I mean, I did like the giant check they gave me. I still have it, but um, having them all come in and celebrate with me, I was like, "What is happening?" Um, but I loved every minute of it. And for celebration, I don't know if I truly celebrated it, but I was really excited to speak at convocations. That was probably my favorite part. Was just getting ready to speak in front of all the staff. So that was my celebration, was writing my speech.
That's great. We know we have taken up some of your valuable time today, so we'll wrap things up.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers, for your time and insight on the joys of working at Caroline County Public Schools. Thank you, our listeners, for joining us on Cavalier Connections today.
You have just been listening to Cavalier Connections, a production of the Cavalier Nation News, produced by Mass Media and Innovation at Caroline High School.
I'm Isabel signing off for today.
And I'm Jasmine, and we'll make more connections next time.